Thursday, September 28th, and welcome. An unprecedented start to the Damon Bruce Show here on the Plus. Are you ready? Sip of the day, right there. I mean, the fastest sip of the day in the history of the program. Today's the 125th episode of us going live at 11. And by the way, we just timed the coffee, and I'll never lie to you. The sip was perfect right there. I just took a little drink right before we hopped on the air. It was perfect. Sip of the day, 11 o'clock. Boom, right on the dot, 11:01. It's an unprecedented moment in the history of the show. I'm glad we were all here for it. I really, really am. Thank you for joining me. It is great to see you once again. We got some things to get into today that I know you're going to enjoy. And as always, we will never, ever, ever waste your time, not for a millisecond around here. So I want to start with the direction of today's thumbnail and why that all kind of came about. Because I'm, sitting around, I'm editing video, I'm listening to some music, I'm just busy work. And for whatever reason, because I didn't want to take another episode of Seinfeld or The Office or whatever, I put on last week's 49er game thinking, maybe I'll catch something I didn't see upon my first 2 times watching the game. I'll just have it on in the background. Maybe something the announcer said catches my ear. Maybe something that I didn't notice happens. And, anything granular really pop out of that at me? The answer was no. But an overall arching theme really did sort of reveal itself to me, and it's kind of hidden right in plain sight because we can all see it. And then when you start comparing the way the 49ers go about plying their offense to the way other teams go about plying their offense, it's really unique. One of the things that I like most about the San Francisco 49ers and their offense is that they play with violence. Normally, when you talk about an NFL team's level of violence, you're talking about something going on at the line of scrimmage, or you're talking about the entire defensive side of the ball. Like, that is where we apply the word violence in football more than anywhere else. It's rarely applied to skill players, right? It's rarely applied to an offensive concept that the entire team, not just the offensive linemen, have embraced, have totally taken into their heart. This concept of playing with violence is everything that Kyle Shanahan has built this offense to revolve around. And there are always different ways to skin a cat, right? Always different ways to skin a cat. We have I'm not calling the Dolphins a finesse team, but they're running around guys more than they're running through guys. The 49ers are running through dudes, through people. And, I'm not just talking about Debo or Ronnie Bell. One of the receivers who obviously didn't play last week, so I didn't see this, but I'm going to tell you, I do see it from him. Like, Brandon Ayuk plays with violence. You look at him and you don't think, well, there's a wide receiver who's going to bring an awful lot of violence to the field. These guys scrap and fight for every yard. They are always falling forward. They are always pushing. They're always stiff-arming. They're always keeping those legs churning. I mean, there is an element of aggressivo to the 49ers skills position players that when you watch other NFL games, you just don't see. You simply do not see. You see the wide receiver have a choice to fight for that extra yard or take it out of bounds without contact. The 49ers are never taking it out of bounds. They are seeking contact. And that is what I think makes the Niners a little tougher to play than your average NFL team. How many teams are physically violent offensively? I can count at least one, that is for sure. And again, I'm not talking about the madman tight end who enjoys blocking as much as he does scoring a touchdown. This isn't just Kittle. These aren't the positions that you think are usually assigned to violence. Wide receivers play with violence. Christian McCaffrey is out there looking to break noses. He's delivering stiff arms so hard. It's really something else. Elijah Mitchell needs to get a little credit in this regard too. This is Kyle Juszczyk playing with violence. Well, all fullbacks are supposed to be violent. It's like a prerequisite for the position. But man, since the position hardly even exists anymore in the NFL, I guess it stands out when you actually see it. So something else from the San Francisco 49ers. It is good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Plus once again. If you plan on joining us on AMP, if you're there right now, hello, welcome. It's good to have you. We have no guests today, so there won't be pockets of total silence for you if you're listening on the AMP app. And what we will have for you today is me coming up out of my deep dive of English rock. The playlist today stays over in England. We will knock around London for one last day this week. And I'll finally be able to play you my single favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time. So you're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be over on the AMP app after we get out of Club Plus and into the VIP lounge. If you know, you know. If you know, spread the gospel. Follow me on AMP. We're having a lot of fun over there. When this show ends, the real music show kind of begins. And I love doing that, I think, as much as I like doing anything. I really do. I want to thank my sponsors as always. Love my sponsors, starting with the man who is out there delivering love and sandwiches to you, for goodness sakes, and that man is Ike. A new location seems to be popping up around the Bay Area, around Northern California, just about every single time I look up. Congratulations to my man's growth and success, and you will have an awful lot of success when you sign up for that Ike Rewards program and you start earning your way to free sandwiches. That's success, baby. What's better than a sandwich? A free sandwich. But not a free sandwich just given to you, a free sandwich that you earned. I like to think our plusers out there like earning what they get. No days off. So get yourself to Ike's for a delicious sandwich. You'll be happy that you did. A little something for anyone is what you will find at Ike's. Blackened whiskey. I absolutely love Blackened whiskey. Tomorrow is going to be our last day as a formal sponsor because nobody's advertising dollars go to infinity, especially not a new brand. Blackened whiskey was my original sponsor. They signed up before Ike's even did formally, and it means an awful lot to me. They say that they'll be back in Q1 of 2024. I certainly hope that that's not lip service, but a partnership that continues, because I have loved telling you about Blackened. And more than that, I've loved drinking Blackened. So tomorrow, we will absolutely be doing one last formal Whiskey Pull Friday to thank Blackened for all they have done to help us get up off the mat of the layoff and start bringing this show to you here on YouTube. I am forever indebted to my friend Charles at Blackened, and I certainly hope that tomorrow will not be the end of a relationship. Again, I was told that, Uncle Boys, a small local burger joint, couldn't continue to go forward, but they wanted to remain, and we found out a way. That's why Uncle Boys is going to be bringing you the Big Herbs Memorial Good for Ball, Bad for Ball segment each and every Friday, because they had another break-in to deal with. I just want to give a little love to Uncle Boys here. And you are loving what you're seeing out of my man Stefan, who, by the way, I'm going to the ballpark with tomorrow night. Stefan's flying into San Francisco from Vegas, and we're going to go sit right by the on-deck circle, like front row seats. This man's got it styled out for me, so thank you in advance, Stefan. Can't wait to hang out with you tomorrow night. BottomLineBets.com is a place you should be hanging out if you'd like to, win often, profit from your love of sports. Throw a little skin in the game, things get more interesting. You start winning with that skin in the game, things get really interesting. Daily, weekly, monthly, and the full season is being offered to you at a great premium price right now. Go to bottomlinebets.com. Stop taking my word for it. Find out for yourself what it's like to win day after day after day when you're going around and making plays in the world of sports. And where do you make that play? I suggest you make that play at mybookie.ag. As a matter of fact, I insist upon it. And when you make a deposit, use promo code Damon. You'll get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. And you will find props and unique ways to make plays that just really aren't anywhere else. There's an awful lot of fun to be had. There's a whole casino floor waiting for you because it's offshore, baby. MyBookie.ag. Sign up today. Put in your deposit. Use promo code Damon. and have some fun. So there you go. We have taken care of business. The 49ers handle their business with a degree of violence, which I absolutely love from an offense. Now, could it be part of the reason the Niners find themselves with guys hurt? Yeah, I mean, football's a violent game, and when you're seeking contact, you got a better chance to hurt yourself than when you're not, but it is this team's DNA. You know, what is the one thing that really separates the 49ers from the rest of the league? What is the element of this team that is their identity? And I say it with the best possible definition of the word violence, which I know is a word that makes people recoil. Of course, I'm talking about football violence. And trying to remove the violence or danger from football, even though there are several steps to have that happen, it's like trying to remove gravity from skydiving. You will never be able to do it. So the teams that embrace it, I've always felt, go the furthest. 49ers are ultra physical. And what I love about their ultra physical play is what we're seeing out of a new, revamped, rebuilt, reconcepted defensive line. Beyond Hargrave showing up for the high-priced free agent that he was, beyond Eric Armstead in his 9th year now, really becoming a premier defensive tackle. You have, for the first time in his career, Javon Kinlaw joining the party in a way that I don't know anyone expected. Akash Anavaranthian, who I got to get back on the channel. I think he's a really, really interesting 49ers reporter. You can follow him on Twitter. He was charting pressures by defensive tackles in true pass sets. So this eliminates plays that are screens. This is you got a quarterback dropping back, and you're not setting up your defensive tackles to apply pressure by running a screen at them. You're not inviting it. You're trying to prevent it. Well, Jonathan Allen of the Washington Commanders has 13 true pass set defensive pressures on a quarterback, followed by Jalen Carter, who is within a small group of games put together as strong a rookie defensive player of the year campaign as Puka Nacua has turned out for the Los Angeles Rams as an offensive rookie of the year. It's going to be hard to take either away from these guys. Jalen Carter looks unbelievable for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's got 12 of those true pass rush from a defensive tackle in a passing play credits to his season so far. And then it's Javon Kinlaw. Yes, Javon Kinlaw in his 4th NFL season, in his first NFL season being healthy, has absolutely delivered on the promise of his draft pick. Let's see if he can keep it up. But he is 3rd in the NFL in defensive tackle quarterback pressures in a true pass set. And then you got at number 4, Javon Hargrave, who's got 10. Oh, no, he's tied at 3 because Kinlaw's got 10, Hargrave's got 10, and that's the big dollar free agent signing that he was acquired to be. And then at number 4, it's Eric Armstead, who's got 9. The big man in year 9 is off to a great start in this 5-down defensive lineman look that Steve Wilks has thrown out there is causing havoc. And all I can tell you is that if you are putting together a team to eventually meet and beat the Philadelphia Eagles in a big game, finding guys who can wreak havoc in an interior offensive line that's regarded as maybe the best in football is right at the top of that wish list. And what do you know? That's what the 49ers have done. They've built a team to be a bully, to play violently week in, week out, but they've also addressed what they need to beat the Eagles, and that's a really big X marks the spot. At least that's the way it feels right now on any level of success that we could actually attach to the 49ers this year. So things are looking good for the 49ers. Welcome officially. Welcome officially to week 4, which gets underway with a Thursday nighter. Tonight, we got Lions at Packers. Sure. Yeah, I'll watch a little black and blue division football. Why not? I don't think either one of those teams plays as physically as the 49ers do. Maybe the Lions, because they got a nasty offensive line. And you got Dan Campbell just trying to run it down everybody's throat, just jam it on down.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
I mean, the man has spoken. What are you going to do?
Come on, Dees. Dees nuts.
Love him. It's going to be, hopefully, an entertaining Thursday night game tonight. We got no Giants baseball to worry about, which is a little bit of a blessing at this point. Again, I'm going to go to my last game of the year tomorrow night with my pal Stefan of BottomLineBets.com. And, when you think of Stefan, you got to think about point spreads a little bit because that's what he's trying to do. It's what he's trying to beat. And I saw a pretty interesting article today. What is a guy really worth to an NFL point spread? Well, there's no one who's going to be worth more than a team starting quarterback. And of the team starting quarterbacks, there is no quarterback who is attached to more this guy's responsible for this team covering than Patrick Mahomes. According to a little research done, Patrick Mahomes in Las Vegas is worth 7.5 points. If he's playing, the Chiefs are going to be worth at least 7.5 points more than if he's not. It's that simple. That's a massive number. The man is worth a touchdown plus in Las Vegas. That's something else. There's no other quarterback in football who is worth an entire touchdown and extra point. You got Jalen Hurts being tracked at 6.5 points, according to what he's worth in Las Vegas. Josh Allen is 6.5. Joe Burrow 6.5. Aaron Rodgers 6.5. Justin Herbert is 5.5. Followed by Trevor Lawrence and Tua, who are both coming in at 5. Then Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson, who are at 4.5. I would imagine if we kept going, we'd get to Brock Purdy. But the whole point is Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, should he be thrown in there, it wouldn't represent that much of a drop-off. Again, this is where you make the sign of the cross and light a candle if you're the 49ers fan talking about something like this. But hopefully it's an experiment that Niners fans don't see run this year. But no one's worth more to the spread than Patrick Mahomes at 7.5 points. By the way, Jalen Hurts coming in at 6.5 club already. I saw that his 29 rushing touchdowns are the most ever by an NFL quarterback in their first 50 career games. So, nice start for Jalen Hurts. The top 5 biggest value between a starter and a backup. It's the Chiefs coming in at number 1, Browns at number 2, Chargers at 3, Bengals at number 4, Bills at number 5. Top 5 offensive players, non-quarterbacks, what are they worth to the spread? Well, it's rare to find anyone who would even be worth a field goal. Unless you're a quarterback, you have to be having a career year to be regarded as your absence would be worth about a field goal. What do you know at the top of the list for top 5 offensive non-quarterback factors into a point spread? It's Christian McCaffrey coming in at number 1. He's worth 3 points according to Las Vegas. Derrick Henry, 2.5. Travis Kelce, 2.5. Taylor Swift, 2.5. Just kidding. Tyreek Hill, 2.5. Justin Jefferson, worth 2 points. Defensively, to be worth more than 2 points at any point in time is rare. Micah Parsons is worth 2 for the Cowboys. TJ Watt, 2 for the Steelers. And then Nick Bosa, worth 1.5 points. Again, if you're a defensive player who's going to affect the spread by 1.5 points, you don't even touch the ball. That means you are just a game wrecker. Myles Garrett's at 1.5. Aaron Donald is at 1. So you see 49ers right at the top of non-quarterback point spread value and what they're attached to on both lists. It just shows you how well this team is built and how interesting and dangerous, and again, the theme of today, violence, they really are. So I like that. I like that an awful lot. Yeah, you are right, Michelle. We got Kittle and CMC just playing with CMC playing with ferocity. You're right. They do. They are just a nasty football team. The Shaw guys out there just stiff arming dudes. He sure is. Postman, good to see you. He wants an oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi!
He gets one. I saw earlier today in the Plusser pre-show chat, you're talking about, what, air traffic patterns down at San Jose Airport? Okay. All right. Michelle saying, wow, show 125 with a sip of the day right at the very top of the show. That's nice. It's like opening with a tweezer reprise. You would never think to have it. And then when it happens, you're like, holy shit, we're in for a barn burner tonight. VIP Patel, back in the room, back from Mexico City. Olale. Let's go Niners, and welcome back, VIP Patel. The Shaw suggests to everyone, hit that like button. You'll be happy that you did. Well, thank you very much, Shaw. I appreciate that. My cousin always says, when all else fails, resort to violence. Well, not in polite society. But on a football field, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Nice guys finish last on a football field. Ren, don't tell me violence doesn't solve anything. It solved World War II, for goodness sakes. As I said earlier this week to not much fanfare, the thing that the San Francisco police force needs to incorporate into its game plan to combat all of these car break-ins and business break-ins that have been rampant in the city lately, violence. You have my full permission to turn off the body cams and whoop some ass when you catch someone red-handed. I will not be elected mayor anytime soon, but I do think I have a strong strategy to run on. Michael Chan says, Terrell Owens would have been awesome in this offense. Dude, Terrell was not afraid to scrap it up. I'll agree with you there. He's one of the best wide receivers of all time. Damon, 10 years gone for your favorite Zeppelin song? David Ryder, you're going to need to tune into AMP when we get done with Club Plus today. The VIP room is opening. I'm going to tell you now that 10 Years Gone is a great song. It's not my favorite Led Zeppelin song. It's not even in my top 10, as a matter of fact. Kashmir, great song. I skipped a final and ended up getting a D in my senior year at Indiana. I knew I was graduating, so I didn't care about my final report card at all. I skipped a final, which was like half of my grade, to go see Page and Plant at Market Square Arena. They were awesome. They played with John Bonham's son, Jason Bonham, on drums. They had a bassist from the guy played in The Cure. They covered an awful lot of great Zeppelin that night. And Page and Plant was the closest I could get to Led Zeppelin while they were still alive. I skipped a final to do this, got a D, felt really good about it. The coolest thing about that show, they opened with Thank You, a very underrated, very mellow, perfect way to open a show if you're Led Zeppelin. No one's expecting it. It was great. They ended the night with the Indianapolis Philharmonic Orchestra coming out, and they played Kashmir for over 20 minutes. You just had cellos and violins with a dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I was walking out of that show and overheard some lady complaining like, we didn't get a Stairway to Heaven. I really wanted a Stairway to Heaven. I said, lady, you just got a half an hour of Kashmir backed by an orchestra. Stop complaining. She's like, I guess you're right. Yeah, I was definitely right. That song's awesome, but that is not my favorite song. It's in the top 5. I got a great favorite Led Zeppelin song for you today. Baron Red, we already went over Pink Floyd earlier this week. So, there it is. I'm not going to go public with it, but Nathaniel Richards here has called it out. You are correct there. Don't. That's, to me, it's the greatest chord greatest chord. What am I looking for? Procession? I guess that's it. It's to me, it's my favorite musical sonic moment of Led Zeppelin's entire career. We'll get to it a little bit later, but Nathaniel Richards has correctly identified it here. And we are correctly identifying him as a new dad. A third child has arrived. Congratulations to the Richards once again. Indeed, Black and Whiskey is great. Black and Whiskey's fantastic. Again, they cannot be a sponsor of the show. I'm probably still going to talk a little bit about Black and Whiskey. That's how much I like it. And again, hopefully they do come on back because I think the relationship has been beneficial. Very, very beneficial. So we'll get back into the chat in just a little bit. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting everything we're doing. It means so very, very much. I want to talk about Dame Lillard being traded to Milwaukee. While we were in Club Plus, this news broke yesterday. A 3-team trade lands Lillard in Milwaukee. The Suns kind of get a poo-poo platter of assets that they're going to like more than DeAndre Ayton, who got involved in this. He ends up in Portland. Portland also gets Drew Holiday, who everyone thinks that they're about to flip for other pieces and just go full-on rebuild. That's probably Portland's best action at this point in time, best thing that they could do. And look, I really don't want to talk about the players or the particulars here. I want to talk a little bit about the cities and the fans who are involved in this. Like Portland, what can I tell you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Milwaukee has, well, a player that you had, but is also the concept that you're trying to have run. Even though we're an off-the-map, smaller than average NBA city who gets less attention, even though we've got an MVP caliber player on our roster, someday we hope it all comes together and we win. In Milwaukee, that's already happened with Giannis. And look, Milwaukee would not have won a championship had they not stumbled into a draft that got them their version of Steph Curry. And what I mean by that is whatever your expectations were for the pick on the night it was made, they've been so thoroughly exceeded by this player's excellence that you have ended up with a championship. Milwaukee winning a championship, we didn't think that was going to happen, and it didn't happen in between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Giannis. That's how hard it is to get great players to Milwaukee. You either better draft them and get lucky around him, or you swing a huge trade for a player the caliber of Dame Lillard, which, great for Milwaukee. But Portland, just to stick with you for a second here, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that it didn't work out. You had one of the two greatest trailblazers of all time. Go back to Bill Walton, sure, at the end of his career, maybe, but not really. We're talking about Clyde Drexler and Damian Lillard. And Damian Lillard is probably better than Clyde Drexler, but it was a different style. That's the thing. Being better than Clyde Drexler is an awfully big mouthful of accolades. Being as good as Clyde Drexler is a pretty good thing to be. And Lillard might have even been better, playing in a much different game, obviously. But it sucks. The Portland Trailblazers are right back to behind square one of we're never going to win anything. We're never going to be NBA champions. Unless you crush 4 or 5 draft picks in a row, make the trade that finally lands you the big player, which Portland never seems to land, gets fished out of. But I guess it can happen because Milwaukee's the other example of it. Milwaukee is the little Midwestern city that could. And it's got to drive Cavaliers fans, Detroit fans who aren't old enough to remember the bad boys. It's got to drive Pacers fans nuts that the little undesirable, nobody wants to be drafted there, nobody's going to sign a second contract to stay there, nobody wants to be traded there. Little Milwaukee did it. They did it. And they did it with a very unique player who's felt a sense of loyalty and didn't pick up his bag and go to an easier to take advantage of situation for whatever reason. And look, Dame, you were trying to do that. Dame Lillard was trying to work his way to Miami because it was going to be easier at this point in time in his career to win a title there. Well, it might be pretty easy in Milwaukee now, because when you want to talk about having two players who are unquestionably, in the top 4 or 5 at their position on the same roster, the Bucks got it. The Bucks got it, dude. And they know how to win a championship because it's happened. And they've got 2 of the 15 best players in this league now on the same roster. Dame Lillard and Giannis together? Holy shit. Okay. I want to watch the Milwaukee Bucks. Landing Lillard is massive for the Milwaukee Bucks. They have a future Hall of Fame piece to go along with their currently already have him future Hall of Fame player, former MVP Giannis, who's already won a championship. And, Lillard is 33, so you might be thinking, well, if you really wanted to win a championship with Dame Lillard, you should have picked him up when he was 28 to 30, not when he's 33. He's a little past his prime. That would be ignoring the season that he just had. Now, maybe an arrow that you'd like to fire at this premise from your quiver would be, well, he got hurt last year and he was only able to play X amount of games. They also shut him down. That's all true. The injured Dame Lillard becomes a reality at the age of 33 that you got to deal with. But the other reality of Dame Lillard is his 32.2 points per game are the most by any player to change teams following the next season. Lillard just had an awesome year before he got hurt. And if he stays healthy with Giannis in Milwaukee, dude, look out, dude. The Bucks are for real. So much so that the Milwaukee Bucks have now officially emerged as the consensus favorite to win the NBA title after the trade. Odds at most U.S. sports books around 4-1. Milwaukee had been listed as the 4th favorite. Then they trade for Dame Lillard. Now they're listed as the favorite, but they were behind the defending champs, the Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Suns, and now they've leapfrogged all of them to be the Vegas betting darling. Very interesting move. I feel bad for Portland. I feel really good for Milwaukee. I always root for the little guy, the overlooked guy in some way, shape, or form. So I'm happy for him. Again, nobody's a Utah Jazz fan, but the Utah Jazz, they deserve a championship. Those fans are so loyal, they've gotten nothing for it. If you're a Clippers fan, fuck you. You chose wrong. You live in LA. You were born into the wrong family, however you got to the Clippers, but it sucks to be you, dude. You made the wrong choice. In Utah, you don't have a choice of teams. In Portland, you don't have a choice of teams. In Milwaukee, you don't have a choice of teams. In LA, screw you. You had the chance to be a Lakers fan. You chose the Clippers. You douchebag. Speaking of the Utah Jazz, there is another story that is very much of the now. So their owner is only 45 years old. I still can't believe it when NFL head coaches are younger than me. That's happening now. I'm officially 48. That happens. We got NBA owners who are younger than me. Not many. Maybe this is the NBA owner who is younger than me. Although, what is the guy who just bought them the Suns? He's not old. He's not an old man. I don't know if he's younger than 48 or not. I don't care. But Ryan Smith is. He's the 45-year-old owner of the Utah Jazz. This is a guy who grew up in Utah, dreamed of owning the Jazz one day, became enough of a business success that he was able to buy the Jazz. I mean, it's very much a Disney story. Well, leave it to a young guy to survey the entire media landscape in a way that maybe an older guy wouldn't and think, it's time for me to get ahead of the future. And that's what the Utah Jazz have done in a media deal that I find very interesting. So, in the wake of AT&T Sportsnet getting out of the regional sports network business earlier this year, the franchise unveiled a plan earlier this week for broadcasting its games on a combination of over-the-air broadcast games on KJZZ, which is a newly created streaming service called I got a little ahead of myself. They're going to be over the air on a station called KJZZ. So that's the thing. You don't have to have cable to watch Jazz games. They're just given to you. That's good. He's also created something called Jazz Plus. Plus? Jazz Plus? Really? Trademark? No. Look, Jazz Plus giving team total control over its local broadcasting rights. In other words, you want to watch the Utah Jazz? There's an app for that. If you can't get them over the TV, there's an app for that. Folks, it's only a matter of time before Joe Lacob and company stumble into this. I'm surprised they're not first to it. They're so forward-thinking and ahead of the technological curve, light years ahead, if you don't mind me saying, on so many issues. ESPN story says doing so comes without the hefty revenue payments that come along with regional sports network deals, which have come to serve as the backbone of sports teams and leagues for decades. But those are going away as the cable industry continues to reel from years of subscriber base erosion. Quote from Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Jazz. I was a fan, he said from his office overlooking the courts inside the Salt Lake City practice facility last week. I know the problem of going, why is my game blacked out? Why am I dealing with this? Why can't I get my game? I'm on the road traveling somewhere. Why is this so complex? Where is my streaming option? Is it a league pass? This is what the guy is saying. He's been a fan. Look, he knows for a fact that looking for games is so frustrating. You just might say, well, forget it. I'm not even bothering. Rob Manfred was just being asked about this, saying, hey, man, you got to have like 9 different streaming services to watch an entire season of baseball. Do you think this is good for the game? And Manfred is just lying, saying, yeah, it's good because the money's good for the owners. Good for the game, good for growing it, good for giving people access to it. No, it's not. Wider reach for a smaller paycheck today, but giving yourself a pivot in the direction the entire media consuming world is now living in. Not only does it sound like a good idea to me, it's the life that I'm living right now. Taking my show to YouTube has allowed me to access the 2.5 billion daily YouTube viewers or weekly, month, whatever it is. But there's more people on YouTube than any other site on the planet looking for videos, bar none. Now, am I making the same paycheck that I used to make being paid to be on afternoon drive radio and terrestrial radio? No. But what I'm sacrificing in money today is an investment in the direction that the entire media world is moving in anyways. Something that JT the Brick and I were talking about yesterday. JT has started a YouTube channel. All the smart animals in the forest, all of them, are going to YouTube. Stephen A. Smith is the highest paid guy at ESPN in terms of on-air talent, making, $10-12 million a year to be Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith knows that no matter what contract he has with ESPN, it could go poof, disappear at any time. And that's why Stephen A. Smith today, as the highest paid media member in sports, basically, is more interested in selling and promoting his YouTube channel than he is even working for ESPN. You can see when he sits down to do the shows, he's better on YouTube than he is on any First Take anything. Because he knows this is where the future is. All the smart animals. And look, I'm not saying that I'm a smart animal. I'm a dumb animal. I had been kicked out of they had to kick me off the watering hole for me to look for water somewhere else. But I just think it's fascinating. We are at a moment in time and of disruption and inflection in sports media like never before. The Utah Jazz. So you want to watch our games? There's an app for that. I think the Phoenix Suns have taken their games off cable and gone full over-the-air broadcast TV. Now, the Warriors got such a cozy deal with their cable situation, and the Warriors are such a rating success that NBC, Bay Area, whatever they're on, and whatever that is going to fight like tooth and nail to try to keep them. It's only a matter of time until Joe Lacob does his own math and says, I'm willing to leave a couple $1 million on the table today to be way ahead of the curve of any and all, future media direction. That's what it is. I mean, the NFL has gone to YouTube. That's all you need to know, right? Chef A says, did I miss Sip of the Day? You did, Amy. We started the show with it. It was an unprecedented start to the show. Make sure you go back and catch it later today. You'll be blown away. All right. We'll get back into the chat and Club Plus in just a second. Sports history is always going to fascinate me. I love sports history. I love when we actually get a slice of it. And the reason why I love baseball is because you can think that you've seen something in baseball, and then you do a little research, and it proves that they've been playing the game of baseball for so long, for so many years, over 150 years, basically, of Major League Baseball. And the one thing that you think is unique to you has actually happened 15, 20 times throughout Major League Baseball history. Except for what we saw in Atlanta last night. Ronald Acuna becoming the first ever member of the I Hit 40 Home Runs and Swiped 70 Bags Club. The 40-70 Club. He stole 2 bases last night. He held the 70th over his head in extra innings. He should have, we get bat flips. He should have base flipped second base into the outfield. It was impressive, man. He's got to be the National League MVP. It's going to be him or Mookie. I don't care that he got shut down about a month ago. It's got to be Shohei in the American League. Ronald Acuna, 40-70. Never happened before. We've had 40-40. Acuna's gotten us to 40-50. He is the 40-60 guy. Now 40-70. And he's got 41 home runs, by the way. The Braves have clinched the National League's top seed and will have home field advantage through the National League Championship Series should they advance that far. Atlanta's sitting at 102-56 on the season. One more win guarantees home field advantage through the World Series for the Atlanta Braves. They are good. The Giants, meanwhile, are not. And, it's been a lot of people lining up to kick the Giants in the teeth in the past couple of days. Like, hey, welcome everybody to the party that we've been talking about for a while here. It's good to see my talking points being lifted and used in so many different places. But, God bless you all. I hear some of the things that Larry Krueger said in his now epic rant, which you got to go see. If you haven't seen the Larry Krueger Epic Giants rant on my YouTube page, go find it. It's already one of the most viewed videos in my page's history. It's that good. It's 29 minutes of just locked in, pissed off Larry Krueger. It's awesome. I hear some of Larry's talking points in not only things that hosts on sports talk radio are saying, but callers are saying. Again, everybody's lifting from us. Everybody. I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you, for a baseball team that has platooned everyone, everywhere, just about every single chance they get. Why are the Giants so freaking tired? Why is this team so out of gas when you've got load management being applied to that dugout like no other dugout in Major League Baseball? Why are so many dudes running on empty when they've had so many chances to fill up their gas tank all year long? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. Got a team full of dudes who played half a season. At the end of the year, they all looked like they played 162 games. They're exhausted. I don't get it. I just saw this. I tried to pin it for later, but I saw it right now. I'm going to read it right now. Otis talking about Christian McCaffrey, saying the Niners' best running back since Frank Gore, even though Mostert showed flashes. Look, dude, Raheem Mostert is a really nice story. He's no Christian McCaffrey. And Christian McCaffrey is better than Frank Gore ever was, if we're completely honest. Frank Gore was awesome. Frank Gore was rock solid and steady. You could set your watch to Frank Gore's production, but he was no Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is the 49ers' best offensive weapon since Jerry Rice. Full stop. That's who he is. More on that when we get into Club Plus in just a little bit. But God, for a team that is just freaking literally going out of its way to rest everybody, the Giants are freaking exhausted. And I don't get it. All right, so we're well caffeinated. We're not exhausted, but we're all at a Damon Bruce show, which means we're about to get into Club Plus, which means we will be on the AMP app. And let me tell you, today on AMP, I'm getting us out of England. One last day of the celebration of great English bands. And then tomorrow we'll come up with something completely different. But join me there. Join me in Club Plus. If you're listening, though, on the podcast, which again has got more downloads this month than in any other month in the podcast history. Thank you so very much. This is where we say goodbye to you, and we remind you that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. The blackened lightsaber. Here we go. Nathaniel Hyatt, Damon, is it Houses of the Holy? No, it's not. Good guess, though. I love that song. Little Pink Floyd all day? No. Kevin Kleinsasser saying, Damon, is it rock and roll? Wolfmother covered that song in their show in Vancouver, Canada this past weekend. Epic. I did not know that Wolfmother covered that. Wolfmother sounded, when it came out, an awful lot like a modern Led Zeppelin. I really like Wolfmother. One of my favorite bands of the last, 15 years or so? Chord progression. That's what I meant to say. Progression. Thank you, Leslie. Kim, she spent a whole life around music and radio. Kim, progression, you idiot. Thank you. Michelle, progression. Thank you. This is Spencer. Progression, moron. Progression, Irwin. Thank you very much. No Quarter is a great song, but that's not it either. Procession is a funeral. Thank you very much, Kim. God, I'm an idiot. T from the 203 down in Miami says, Damon, people are having a funeral about Damian Lillard not going to the Heat. I was saying that he wouldn't land in Miami. Yeah, look, he wanted to go to Miami. It felt like Portland didn't like the deal that they were getting back, or I don't know. It felt like a little personal, like they didn't want to send Dame to the place that he wanted to go. In the last 48 hours before he got flipped to Milwaukee, was reading a story about how the Toronto Raptors were emerging as a team that could really come after Dame Lillard. And I thought, man, that's a waste of Dame Lillard. He's going from the Toronto of America to the Toronto of Canada. Man. Sorry, Miami Heat. I tell you, if I were Miami Heat, though, I'd be looking to flip assets for Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday should be moved on from the Blazers. They could get more return. Blazers should be in full reset mode. Full reset mode, grinding right down to a 20-win team that has a good shot at a decent pick next year. Otis Bird says, what about Drew Holiday for Chris Paul? Again, Chris Paul would represent a great mentor for young pups up in Portland. He is an expiring contract, which you'd think the Blazers would love to have as well. But Chris Paul's not going anywhere until this team gets a little run with him. And I don't even think he can be traded until like the middle of the year anyways. I think there's an aspect where he can't be moved. So that's not going to happen. And I really do think Steve Kerr and the Warriors are excited about Chris Paul. So that's just not going to happen. '82 Atlantic says, hey, Damon, Portlanders care more about protesting than basketball. Look, you got to quit watching Fox News. I have friends. I got some family who's up in Portland, and they're like, yeah, you know, everything you see on the TV is a little bit exaggerated. I mean, it's a little nuts up there, too. I'm not going to say it's not nuts at some points, but it's a bit much exaggerated. How about them Niners? Says Damon, have you heard the new Greta Van Fleet newer band with that classic Van Halen sound? No, I'll check it out. Again, I'm always looking for new music. Always looking for new music. Harder and harder to find these days. I pinned a couple of messages. Well, here, I want to get to one right here. This is from RIP Cougar Rebel. Says, Taylor Swift, bad for ball. In what way is Taylor Swift bad for ball? Taylor Swift is an economy unto herself. She sits in a stadium and watches a football game. Millions more people will watch that football game. Taylor Swift is the walking, talking, physical, literal definition of good for ball. She brings millions of eyeballs to her wherever she goes. In the we want people to watch business, that's good. You might not like her. You might not like her music. To say that she is bad for business is insane. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel. Again, Taylor Swift is more important to the American economy and experience right now than the state of Wyoming. It really is. She really is. By the way, we ran a poll on Twitter about that, and it came back 3-1 that Taylor Swift is more important to the American experience than Wyoming. The people have spoken. Juan C. Damon, have you addressed the fact that our old 49ers coach, Tom Schuler, won in Europe? What did he win? I don't know. Tom Schuler's coaching over in Europe? Good for him. What's he doing over there? I don't know. Like I saw some Dave Lombardi wrote some story about like, hey, a team with Niner ties. Is that it? I didn't bother reading it. I don't care about a football team that isn't a college football team or isn't an NFL football team in football season. Damon, the Blazers are cursed for skipping on Jordan. They really have been. 82 Atlantic says, Brandon Roy would have been up there with the all-time great Blazers if not for injuries. Dude, Brandon Roy was looking special. Looking special. And then, yeah, injuries cut career short all the time. Spencer Van Houter says, hey, my wife is from Milwaukee. Nice. She probably knows her way around a bowl of cheese curds if she's from Wisconsin. And everyone should know their way around a bowl of cheese curds because those are delicious. Otis Bird is right. Damon Giannis is going to be intriguing. Oh, my God. I mean, what's the one thing the Bucks don't do well is shoot the three. What's the one thing Dame Lillard does almost as good as anybody in basketball, not named Steph Curry, is shoot that three. He's a scoring machine. All right, what else we got here? Hey, Damon, keeping it real, talking about all sports. Well, most sports. Maybe not all sports, but most sports for sure. '82 Atlantic says the Lakers are going to win the West next season. Maybe. I mean, let's assume that Victor Wembanyama doesn't bring the San Antonio Spurs right back to the postseason. Let's take the Portland Trailblazers out of the equation. So there's two teams in the West who definitely won't be playoff teams in the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trailblazers. Who else is definitely missing the playoffs? It's hard to handicap that. I mean, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Utah Jazz, the Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies. Maybe the Houston Rockets don't make it. They had a terrible year last year. But there are a lot of teams that you can make the argument, yeah, they might go to the postseason, to the point where now even trying to stack who is going to be the team that wins them. Look at it this way. Let's say LeBron James continues to get old in his oldest season of NBA play ever, and he misses 35 games. You think you're going to win the West next season? I don't. The only chance the Lakers have is LeBron staying totally healthy. I don't know if you can bet on that anymore. Brendan Dillinger says, I'm trying to move to Utah. Well, it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, if you want to go to Utah, go to Utah. It's not a hard place to get into. Not plenty of room in the VIP lounge in Utah. Otis Bird saying, look, it is strange to see Clipper fans in LA when the Lakers are available. It's like being in New York City and rooting for the Mets over the Yankees. Well, the one thing that you might have is you were a kid somewhere around 1986 and the Mets won a championship, one of the most dramatic World Series ever, and that stays with you. That can hit you hard when you're a kid, so you then grow up a Mets fan. The Mets at least have been to a World Series since then. The frickin' Clippers have never turned around and even said, here you go. Here's a really good year that went far. You just like being a contrarian. And some people like contrarians. Some people really want to be White Sox fans when the Cubs are sitting right there. I don't know why. Some people want to be A's fans when the Giants are sitting. I won't even do it. Matt Ishiba, that's the name of the new Suns owner. He's younger than me, too. Born in 1980. Oh, my God. Got billionaires younger than me. Where did my life go wrong? Oh, that's right. I was never a good student or smart enough to be a billionaire. What else we got? There are a lot of Mets fans in upstate New York. I'm one of them. Sporticus, where are you in upstate New York? Schenectady? That's where I grew up. Erwin, great interview. Great interview with JT the Brick yesterday. Thank you. Thank you very much. He was fantastic. And I tell you what, one of the things that we talked about yesterday, and I didn't really know where to include it in today's show, so I guess I didn't. But one of the things that JT and I talked about is what is going on with frickin' Chandler Jones. It's not good. Chandler Jones had a rough morning this morning. He's accusing Josh McDaniels of being involved in the Aaron Hernandez murder. And oh, by the way, Aaron Hernandez killed himself in prison, so that's not right. He's saying he wants McDaniels out of his town of Las Vegas. He's eating right out of a box of honey bunches of oats while breaking down and crying and ranting and tagging LeBron James. Like, I believe any professional diagnosis or even a cursory look at his social media, many of these posts have been deleted, would point to a mental health crisis for Chandler Jones. I mean, this man is totally untethered to reality right now. So I really hope that he is able to invite or get the help that he needs, because Chandler Jones feels like he's about a week away from causing great harm to himself, shall we just say. It ain't going well for Chandler Jones. Leslie, you're evolving, Damon. One smart animal. Well, thank you. I was chased away I had to be chased into evolving. Damon, you got to set up your Twitch stream to be in the sports category so you can pick up some extra followers over there. Is there a sports category? Again, we're on Twitch, but I don't go to Twitch. I don't know anything about Twitch. I don't know how to use Twitch. I know we have like a single digit. I didn't know there was a sports category. I'll get there. Damon, you're a genius compared to some of us blokes. Yeah, I mean, you measure me against just your average bloke, I look okay. But if you take me down to Palo Alto, I'm not in the front of that genius line. You can see that quickly. Bamboo, 95.7's the dumb animal, but I hear you. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. What else we got? Oh, Otis Bird and Sporticus are talking about So fans in upstate New York, before they were Toronto Blue Jays fans, they were very much more into the category of Red Sox, Montreal Expos, and Philly fans. Mets first, Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Phillies, Expos. And then, you had your Cito Gaston Blue Jays, and they were really good, but they beat the Phillies, and that pissed off a lot of Phillies fans. Smiley Dan says, remember when I said Acuna's records were all because of rule changes? Look, I mean, it was easy to assume that, but this guy's a player. And maybe it made it a little easier. Maybe he did steal a few more bags because of the millimeters of difference in between base paths now. But yeah, look, you have the right to be suspicious of any of all things that happened under a new rule book. But I think you eventually have to sit there and say, yeah, Acuna could have played at any point in time in the history of Major League Baseball and kicked crazy ass doing it. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel. 70 stolen bases. It's because they made the base. No, it's not. He good. So, Leslie, again, really enjoyed the interview with JT the Brick. Raiders fans, I know you feel underserved. If you're looking for a little inside the Raiders, it's a good one. A really, really good one. So check it out. It is great to have you, man. VIP Patel says, most are tearing it up in Miami. Wish we kept them. Why? You got Christian McCaffrey, dude. You're fine without him. Gore, number 5 all time in rushing yards. I do know that. Yeah, no, he was special. But I'll say this. At no point in time in Frank Gore's entire career was he regarded as like one of the 3 best running backs in football. He's got an incredibly long career, which allowed him to produce some very impressive career numbers. But an individual season of Frank Gore, for the most part, was very good. Topped out at very good. And I love Frank Gore. Like I'm ready to defend Frank Gore at all times. But at no point in time was Frank Gore as good as Christian McCaffrey on his best day. Man, we got a lot of people in the chat today. Chat is just burning up. Burning up. Oh, what do you know? JJ Rader, the word of the day, Damon, progression. Yeah, we got it. Chord progression. That was it. Get over to AMP right now. We're going to be going over to AMP really, really soon. That's where the VIP lounge is. I'm approaching like 250 followers. It's still a very, very small little community over there. We are segmenting one community from another community, building a community, but there's no fences between our communities. It's just another button to push. If you feel like pushing another button and listen to some great music, that's what we do when we go into the VIP lounge each and every day on the AMP app. So get over there. And True Blue forever. Saving up my sip of the day winnings. True Blue dropping 20 jingle jangles into the ganja jar. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very, very much. What do we got? Trade Ayuk. No, come, what? What? Guy's the best wide receiver on the team. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. What the fuck are you talking about? San Bruno Mike. Ganja jar, $10. Slip it in. Thank you very much. The 49ers defense sticks when they hit. It's felt the following week. When they're playing Madden, they got the hit stick out there. I love watching it. And here's the thing. It's not just the defense that's hitting using the hit stick. It's the freaking offense. And what, dude, offense with violence. Oh, it's great. Nathan Hyatt shouting out some Wolf Mother. I tell you what, Wolf Mother might make a little of tomorrow's playlist. It might do. But bands that could have played or opened for Led Zeppelin. I got to think of the playlist. I just can't come up with it off the top of my head. I got to smoke a little weed and think about it. Tom Jim Sula. Yeah, that was my man Trey Wingo. I got to get Trey on the channel. Baron Red is so right. Tim Jamsula. He's a multimillionaire living in Europe. God bless him, dude. He was a good guy. Good for him. He was a better coach than Jim Kelly was in the NFL, or Chip Kelly was in the NFL. Not Jim Harbaugh, Chip Kelly. So look at us, getting a little jingle jangle in there. I certainly appreciate everyone for dropping the love on the channel. Means an awful lot. Postman, what do you know? Oy! Taylor Swift ever endorsed a presidential candidate? That candidate would win by a landslide. Did you see that Taylor Swift said, hey, you should sign up for to vote, and got like 400,000 18-year-old girls to sign up and register to vote? The woman's got power. She does. Dude, she is the epicenter of attention. Maybe it's over attention. But you can't deny her the moment in time that she's having. And look, you know, like if you gotta look at someone, if you're being given too many camera shots of somebody, like she's very pretty, you know. Is Taylor Swift my kind of gal? I like a little bit more meat on my bones. I like a curvier gal myself. But Taylor Swift is very attractive. You know, you want to cut to her, show me a little of her, fine. Travis Kelce jersey's going up 400%. You had a whole bunch of 16-year-old girls saying, I'm a Chiefs fan. Good for the NFL. It's about time they made some money. God. Amp, baby. Thank you, Michelle. Indeed, that's where we are going. Oh, we got 6 people hanging out over at AMP right now. Damon, I missed those Wingo Wednesdays. Weren't they great? He was a great weekly guest. He totally was. James giving us some love, some flexing, some beers, some flame emojis, some gas. We got it all here, James. Thank you very, very much. Oh, we got a little True Blue Forever breaking some news here. Again, we get news kind of slipped into the show that I cannot confirm or deny, but Chase Center gets the 2025 NBA All-Star Game. We all knew that was coming. That'll be cool. That'll be cool. I'm sure we will hear quite a bit about that at Warriors Media Day, which, by the way, I've been told is Monday. So here's how it's going to go, I believe, on Monday. For me to go to Warriors Media Day, we're going to need to move the Damon Bruce show to a time other than 11, but you won't have a morning without me because on Monday, we will be simulcasting 49ers Wake Up after the 49ers and Cardinals play. So it'll be Larry Krueger and I at 8 a.m. till about 11, and then I'm going to go to Chase Center, and then I'll shoot some stuff there, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it over here, and we will not deny you the content that you crave, and I'm so deeply appreciative that you crave this content from little old me. Thank you very, very much. We're going to Club Plus right now. Get yourself over there. I'm going to play for you my favorite Led Zeppelin song, which I've already demonstrated a cappella with my chord progression. Look at me, learning on the job. Thanks to all of you. Thank you to all of you. Join me right now over on the AMP app. And if you don't want to, that's fine. We're not going to force you. You don't have to go home. But you can't stay here.